President Trump touting that he's made 200 trade deals in a new 2-hour interview with Time magazine ahead of his 100th day in office.
So Rich Edson is live at the White House with the details. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Brian, Ainsley, Charlie. Well, this is a wide-ranging interview the president conducted, just dropped from Time magazine. The president claims that he's made 200 trade deals, though we haven't heard anything announced yet. And he's also expressing optimism. He says that these trade deal processes will all finish up in the next 3 to 4 weeks. The president likened these trade deals and his role in it as almost like a store manager. This is what he told Time, quote, "It's a giant, beautiful store, and everybody wants to go shopping there. And on behalf of the American people, I own the store. I set the prices. And I'll say, if you want to shop here, this is what you have to pay." 2 weeks ago, the president paused for 90 days tariffs on goods from across the world coming into the United States. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the administration's had very successful talks with South Korea, that the two countries will be talking technical terms as early next week. The president also says the U.S. and China are actively talking, though Chinese officials say there have been no productive negotiations. Now, this interview touched on a number of different subjects. The reporter asked President Trump if he'd be willing to meet with Iran's supreme leader. Trump said, sure. This as the two countries are in the middle of negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. They've had a couple of meetings so far. The next session is scheduled for tomorrow. Back to you.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Rich.
Rich, a really long interview with Time magazine, many of which are some of the questions that they ask. One of the questions about Doge, you have a godlike approach to the budget. He goes, what a crazy question. he goes, why are you asking that question? It's about finding fraud and abuse. Why wouldn't you want to find that out? But Trump is he's interviewing with The Atlantic, and he's interviewing with Time magazine, and no holds barred, 100 days in.
They talked about the first 100 days and talked about a wide variety of issues. But he said, the reporter says, it seems like you're expanding your power as president. He said, I'm not expanding my power. I'm just using it. We are resetting the table. He said we lost $2 trillion per year on trade during the last administration. He said at some point we have to stop this. And he said we are earning now 25% more on cars, 25% more on steel and aluminum. He said we're going to have an explosion upward in the not too distant future.
This is what we call radical transparency. I mean, the guy's willing to talk to absolutely anybody that he doesn't care what you've written about him in the past. And, obviously it creates real problems sometimes for people who work for him. But it's what I think that it's what you expect, what you should expect out of a free country. Mm-hmm. Your leader actually answers questions and talks to people.
He said this is what I ran on. They asked him about Doge and the courts challenging him. And they said weakening law firms and universities. He said, this is what I campaigned on. I'm using my power as per the election.
So we know this when it comes to the tariff talk. He said, I got 200 deals ready to go. When are you going to announce them? In the next few weeks. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we heard that maybe 18 deals are ready to go. And then we hear in principle some things. South Korea, we saw the Secretary of Treasury yesterday say South Korea is moving really quicker than we thought we might be. We're moving them up in terms of that. But one thing about China, they have stopped buying our pork. So that's going to hurt farmers. So I think pork imports are now facing 172% tariff. So China is going to not buy 12,000 metric tons of U.S. pork shipments. So they also have turned around the Boeing planes and said we no longer want them. Your only other choice is Airbus. You have to go order them. Either you need 9 planes or you don't. You got to make them. So President Trump ripped China yesterday and said, are you kidding me? You're actually sending Boeing planes back. So I get the sense that both sides are staring each other down and not budging. And I do know that it looks like China is backing off something else. China has quietly rolled back retaliatory tariffs on some U.S.-made semiconductors because there's no substitute for the semiconductors that we make. So I get the sense, and the markets are waiting for this, and I watched Brian Moynihan last night, Citibank CEO. Citibank or...
I don't know who he's with.
Brad.
One of the big banks.
One of the big banks. And he says, we're just waiting. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with these deals, but especially China. Not even saying what the deals are going to be, but just saying...
Maybe this is the deal. Maybe they say, OK, pork's too expensive, we're not going to buy it, but we need your semiconductors. And we still need that, so we're going to lower the tariffs on that. Maybe this is part of the negotiation.
But do we have to write a check to the farmers?
Yeah.
Because you know this. All of a sudden, you're not able to sell that to the number one market.
Or President Trump finds other countries that need pork and say, don't buy it from X, Y, and Z, buy it from us.
Right. And Spain is now, China's going to go buy it from Spain.
And the sticking point is that, Trump talks about how America is this great, big, giant, beautiful store. And it is. And there's lots of great products here. But we're also the biggest customers for a place like China. And they
We're
need
the best
us.
consumers.
Yeah, we're the best consumers. They need us. And the question is, who needs who more? And I think the Trump administration is banking that China ultimately needs us more than we need their plastic
And Donald
stuff.
Trump, in the article, he talked about meeting with the CEOs of Walmart and Target and Home Depot, and he said they're for these tariffs. Walmart, they reported their first quarter revenue, or what do you call that? The first quarter, whatever, how much they've made. And they said they have not seen, thank you. They have done better and said that they have not lost business because of this. And they said it was either 70 or 80% of all their products in their store are made in America.
This is my analogy, and I think it's brilliant. Before I'm just going to warn you. If you're an archer, you pull the bow back. And what he's doing is with interior, they're drilling. They're starting to drill in the Gulf of America massively. They're starting to open up federal lands massively. At the same time, you have the big, beautiful bill. It's like, what, two months away. That's going to pull it back even further. And then as you pull in these deals, the easy ones, the Israels, the Vietnams, and then the bigger ones, the India, it goes back. And then when it's about to be let go, it's going to be the off-year elections. And you're going to see everything at once, along with a rate drop in about 9 months, then all of a sudden that'll loosen up on the housing. So I could see as these deals come in, the deregulation as well, all plowing the ground for a booming economy. How do you feel about my analogy? I think it's brilliant.
I think it's a very strained,
very weird,
strained analogy.
Let go.
But better.
It ends with them letting go.
You forgot the bullseye, yeah.
Right.
I
have to let go. You pull all this back, and then you let it go. But when you're pulling it back, it's a little painful.
But better.
Hold your biceps. You got to hold it back.
Yeah, but better than your misidentifying Moynihan, who's with Bank of America.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm here.
I'm here for you. Yes.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.